Hello, hello, hello. This is Elizabeth Clare Brewington, and I'm here with an author of the book An Eye for Joy. So I know we have a full interview that we'll share with you in the comment section. But if you want to just give us a 1 minute quick, tell us a little bit about yourself, Peg, before we get into the rapid fire.
Well, I'm an essayist, which means that I walk through the world, look at something, say, oh, that's interesting, and then write about it. So, a wide variety of different kinds of topics. But the new book is grouped around the idea that everyday joy, everyday beauty, even in this hard world, is available to anyone who cares to notice it. And it can be a life-sustaining practice to introduce and recognize more everyday joy in your everyday life.
You know, I used to love writing essays when I was in school, so I'm so glad you talked about that so that our kids can learn from you and write some good essays, which today we call blogs. So that would be great. So, how would you describe yourself as an empowerer?
You know, this is an interesting question because I don't usually describe myself as an empowerer, but here's what I think about it. I think that the best way to be empowered yourself and to pass on the capacity to empower others is to live the life, an intentional, um, purposeful life that is in line with your feelings about the world and your feelings about what you want to do in the world. And when you do that, in an active way and in a visible way, I think others see that, and it's so and it spreads. It spreads. Um, and it's a choice that you can do. And I think that empowering, particularly empowering younger people, is a very powerful and wonderful way to spend your time.
Yes, because they are being taught how to be negative and how to be moody and how to get things out of people. So, yes, we definitely have to teach them how to do good for
We
sure.
do, and there's and one sort of easy way to do that, Elizabeth, which I'm sure you do also, is I am never afraid to compliment young people. If I see young people on the street and they are dressed in a certain way or their hair is a certain way or whatever else, everybody loves a compliment. And even if they don't respond to you warmly, you still put it out there into the world. Oh, I like your piercing. Oh, that's an interesting hair color. Whatever it is. And once they get over the shock of being spoken to by a stranger who's
That
also
is true.
an older person, I believe
Yeah.
it opens the ears.
You know, it's funny you said that because we were at the gym the other day and during Christmas, McDonald's came up with this box, the Grinch box. I have this big thing about Grinch stealing gifts under the Christmas tree. But this little child was holding this big Grinch box, and I said, my goodness, this is such a great book. It was a Happy Meal, but it had socks in it, it had lots of little things in it, and he was so excited to show me all the parts of the box. And so I was like, I said, you are a pioneer. Not none of us have that box, because it was the first day. And he said, yes, I found it on the internet, and I told my mom I wanted to get one. So he said there was a big line, and apparently he was one of the few that was the first to get it. But he started to talk to me like so excited about it. So you're right.
Yeah, we can't move through the world only speaking to our own generation. We can
Yeah.
speak to other people of other ages, all different kinds of people, because these little tiny little human connections, even if they seem to drop to the ground, are what knits the world together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even, if you ask them for help with your phone or
Absolutely.
something with technology, the young
Mhm.
generation is so out there to help you. So, who has empowered you? You've got these fantastic people in your book, and all these lovely stories. Yeah.
Well, I'm very partial to enthusiasts of all kinds, and I don't actually care what their passion is because it's the enthusiasm, the ardor that sparkles and attracts other people. Enthusiasm is transmissible, it spreads, and I would argue that it's life-giving. It's a natural bubbler. It's contagious, like laughter is contagious. So it's a gift that you can have and a gift that you can give. So if you're enthusiastic about something, you have a passion, something you love, there are nearly 8 billion people on this planet. Your cohort is out there. Go find them. You'll have a lot to talk about with them. And yes, I do write about this in the new book in a piece called, predictably, possibly, Run with the Enthusiasts. I recommend running with the enthusiasts.
Yeah, I discovered that a few years ago that the more like-minded people that you hang out with, the more fun you have, and life gets so much more interesting.
Mhm.
So I definitely think that that is a great word, enthusiast. So name a book. It could be one of your own books. You've written several, or a film that has empowered you.
I would, talking about books, I have to say, and if you could see my bookshelves, you would be able to tell this on a visual glance. I am empowered by all my books. I have a large collection of books which I return to periodically. And as far as films go, for consistent empowerment, I think sometimes we need a touch of historical distance. So I watched the film Selma to
Mm,
be reminded of how distant goals can seem and how they can still be reached and how complicated and dangerous it can be to reach them and that they can be reached. And I think that film is a good reminder of empowerment in this time when moving toward goals is so
yes.
important for everyone.
I think the scene in Thelma where they're all walking on that bridge,
Ah,
black and white and everybody, and I think that in everything I've seen, that makes you feel like America. Like, I mean, look at if we all got together and just walked on a bridge together, how
that's
wonderful
right.
that would be. So yeah, there's some scenes in the movie that I think that definitely is very empowering. So yes, so this is a fun thing, food or an activity or wellness. What is empowering for you?
Well, I have lots of things that I use as empowering habits, but the one I want to talk about here is that I read essays. Essays, it's a writing form with a long and storied past. And essayists, myself included, can and do write about anything, but the voice is always recognizable, it's always individual. So I read essays in the way that I engage in conversation, to engage with ideas, to laugh, to mourn, to think with other people. And when I'm reading this kind of work, it feels like sitting down at the world's most interesting dinner party. Ross Gay, Jill Lepore, and Fadiman. And if we're going to construct a dinner party without regard to whether people are alive or dead, then I would invite E.B. White to sit at that dinner party. But it's the fact that it's the thinking, the essayist voice is a thinking voice, and it's always a human voice. And that's something that fuels me tremendously, not just toward my own work, but toward living in the world in an attentive way.
Yeah. And what about travel? Do you travel? Is there a particular place in the world that
I
you love?
do I do travel, and in the last few years, I have had a wonderful trip to Africa, a wonderful trip um, to the deepest heart of Mexico. But a place that I return to when I'm in Chicago, which is my original hometown, I always try to spend an afternoon at the Art Institute because you can always wander and you can find something new because there are new exhibits all the time. But you can also sit with beauty from the deep, deep past. Chagall windows, the Arms and Armor exhibit. I'm very ecumenical. The Impressionists, the Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte. And all these portraits, Elizabeth, they look at you as you walk past looking at them, and they're waiting to share their histories with you. Every one of them in the portrait gallery is a person who had and has a story, the same way that people now have stories to tell. And I write
Yeah.
about that in the new book too, The Art Institute.
We talk about time, how precious it is.
Mhm.
And like right now, when I'm recording you, I'm preserving this time. You're going to look the same. I'm going to look the same for the next 10 years. And we're just going to capture that moment. And I think that's what art does too. It just preserves that moment that the artist or an author like you just captured that moment. You've kind of reserved it so that it's forever. It's something, and that's what I love about my podcast is I feel like who knows, when we have another pandemic in the next 100 years, someone will find my video and, say, oh, that's what these people did
That's
during
right.
COVID is they talked to each other on Zoom,
That's
so,
right. That's
so
right. The
yeah,
humans then, I think, will recognize the humanity. So the common humanity is a theme that's
yeah,
I don't know how we could spend more important time than
yeah.
illustrating and emphasizing our common humanity.
It's true. It's so true. So this has been wonderful. So what's on the bright side? What's next for you?
Well, I'm working on quite a few things, and one of the things that I do that I want to alert your readers to is that I write new work all the time, and I distribute that work for free to people who go to my website and sign up, and they can get the new essays directly into their inboxes. And let's see, how can I, if I were on the keyboard, I would underline this sentence: wide variety of topics, wide variety of topics, some fun, some joyful, all different kinds of things. And I want to say that um, because that's the ongoing part of the work. And I am having a wonderful time going around and talking to people about this book. As I think I said earlier, the idea of everyday joy is an idea that everybody can respond to. Everybody needs it, everybody wants it. And in the flood of sensation that is the rapidly moving world that we live in now, making a choice to stop and say, oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, look at that. That's funny. That's interesting. That's another human is an important thing to do.
It's so interesting because so many people get stranded at the airport and they have thanked me for books because they, never read books till they met me.
Mm.
And then two, they used to say, oh, these authors always want me to subscribe to these things and my email box is full. And then I got a call from the airport saying, I'm stranded on the airport and I forgot to buy the book that you told me to buy. But when I looked at my email, it was full of beautiful author stories and advice. And I said, that's exactly why it's important to subscribe because you never know when you just need that. Oh, you need that little lift, you need that, like they say, a tummy tuck or a facelift. Your inside needs that. Your motivation. You need that empowerment coming in. So she
I
thanked.
think that's right. And from my point of view, it also puts me in very close touch with my readers
Yep.
because people write back to me.
Yep.
Every few weeks, I'll put out a new essay about something, and somebody will, or many people actually write back to me and say, "Oh, what about this? Oh, that prompted this in me," and it puts me in a constant state of contact with the people who are reading the work, which for me shapes the work.
Yeah. I grew up in India, and when we were growing up, we didn't have textbooks. We had to borrow, from the library and give it back to the library. And then there were like a waiting list. There would be all these people waiting, to get. And I did literature, so I had The Power of Glory, Wuthering Heights. These were my books, and so I had to actually wait to get it in my hand to read. But one of the things that we used to do as kids would we'd handwrite like a verse or something that we loved about a book, and then fold it and put it in our purse. And then when we'd get together, we'd read, poems to each other and, talk to each other about it.
Yeah.
So sometimes an author writes so beautifully like you, and now especially at times as these, words matter.
Mhm.
Thoughts matter, stories matter. So I highly encourage everybody to get these books and to subscribe. You never know if you're stranded at the airport or you're waiting on something, long lines, so you might want to get her subscription as well. So thank you for this interview. I did have a lot of fun, and you're absolutely right. This was a joy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.